I don't particularly like this book. Why? We're just eternal. Like, awesome. Great. He splats himself for the fun of it. Such good characters. That's all I'm saying. I love the characters. Hi guys! So, it's August, which means that we gotta do a wrap up of what I read in July. And I'm having one of those days where it's just the sun is shining and it's just warm. So if I start looking like a mess throughout this video, it's because I feel like a mess, but it's fine. It's just too warm. So anyway, also I would like some input. Do you guys like this background? Like, this is my bedroom. I do have an office where I have my bookcases and stuff, so I'm gonna be frantically doing this throughout this video, but anyway. I could record in there. I do most of my work in my office, but I don't know, it's chill sitting on my bed recording these videos, but just let me know. Like, would you prefer my bookcases as the background, or is this fine? I don't know, let me know. So anyway, I managed to read 9 books throughout July. I feel like July kind of lasted the same amount of time as 3 months. I don't know. The start of July seems like such a long time ago. I know I'm recording this on the 6th of August, but July just lasted for 3 months, I swear. So anyway, I mentioned this book, the first one that we're gonna talk about, at the end of my June wrap-up, and the first one is Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. If I butcher any names throughout this video, I'm sorry. But it is what it is. I can't pronounce names, it's fine. I also mentioned in my June wrap-up that I don't particularly like this book. I'm not gonna lie. I like the whole premise of it, is that how you say that? Like the whole setup, the whole idea of it, but I don't know, I just felt kinda rushed a little bit. So anyway, whoops, I just nudged my camera. So sorry about that. Anyway, I truly wish I had air condition in my apartment, but I don't. It's only 27 degrees in here, but I'm literally melting. This book takes place in, I'm not really sure because it's not fully explained in the book, but I believe that it's sort of like an 1800s inspired world, and we follow a girl called Alessandra. As a character, I don't mind her, to be honest. I feel like she has, as we Danes would say, she has legs in her nose, which translated sounds really freaking odd, but it just means that she has an opinion. She is an independent woman. She knows what she wants and she goes for it. And I love that in women, because, you know, female power and all that. But she's also a little bit arrogant. I'm not gonna lie. A little bit arrogant. But anyway, so it's time for Alessandra to, or what is it, her sister? It's during those times where women were kind of just married off as objects to get the family money. So her sister has been married off, I think, as far as I remember, and it's Alessandra's turn. She doesn't want just anyone though, she wants the king of the kingdoms. I think there's 6 kingdoms, 7 kingdoms? Detail I don't remember, but she has set her eyes on him. She wants to marry him, not for love. She's never met him, she's never seen him, she doesn't know what he's like, but she wants to marry him and then kill him off. So, I mean, sorry YouTube, unalive him so that she can take over the kingdom. That's what Alessandra wants. So she's set on that, and fair enough. Like I said, the whole like idea of the book, love it. I just feel like it was a little bit rushed, and I don't know, maybe that's because, what was the last thing I read in June? Oh yeah, I read the whole Grishaverse, which was so well written but also very detailed. The world was built up beautifully, and the whole magic system as well was well described. Everything was just well-rounded. And then I jumped onto this book and it felt rushed. It felt rushed. He's called the Shadow King because he has abilities. This is the part of the story as well. This is not really a spoiler. You learn it pretty early on. I've also heard other people say this in their videos because I needed to know if I was the only one who didn't like it. I'm not, but he kind of has an ability. He's called the Shadow King because he has shadow magic going on. It's not really explained super well, but basically maybe he can kind of turn into shadows, sort of. So he has two, if you say he has 2 states, he has the solid human state and then he has the shadow state. If you touch him when he's in his human state, you'll always be able to touch him, right? Am I remembering this correctly? I feel like I said, I feel like it's 3 months ago that I read this book. So that means he's vulnerable. Yeah, he's vulnerable. But when he's in a shadow state, nothing can touch him. He can walk through walls, you know, that sort of thing. And that's basically his magic, I think. So I realized that this is not supposed to be like a super fantasy-minded book with a big world, a big new world, and a magic system that is well developed and all that, but I would have loved a little bit more detail on the world, and I would have loved just, I don't know, for his magic to mean a little bit more than it does. So this is definitely, if you are into tropes, this is, I think it's an enemies to lovers, kind of, maybe? Yeah. I think that's what it is, right? Enemies to lovers, kind of. I mean, the thing is, he's never really her enemy, so... And also, a lot of stuff just happens in the book. Like, Alessandra has done some stuff in her past, some shady stuff in her past, and it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's like nothing in the book matters. So this was a 2 out of 5 simply because I don't like to give really mean reviews. I like to focus on the more positive things, I suppose. I'm also easily entertained. It wasn't like I was laughing at the book. Don't get me wrong, I was still entertained. But it was more like out of why? So if you're looking for a fast read, quick-paced, easily digested, yes, that's what I meant to say, then, you know, pick this up. It's really easy to read, and it was a fast read for me too. I think it's only like 320 pages as well. I'm also not gonna write off Tricia Levenseller as an author. I still want to try to read Warrior of the Wild, I believe that is her book as well, and also Daughter of the Pirate King, Daughter of the Siren Queen. I really want to read those two as well. So I'm not writing her off as an author at all. I just, if it had a little bit more detail, I think I would have loved it. But I mean, aside from the things that happened that just didn't matter. It's a difficult one, but anyway, that was The Shadows Between Us. So, really trying my best to say my honest opinion without sounding mean. I don't know, I just like to focus on the positive things a little bit more. It's really difficult. Also because I don't wanna hurt anybody's feelings. So, I don't, does that make any sense? I don't know. Anyway, so I mentioned in my June wrap-up that I felt like once I'd finished the Grishaverse books, I kind of wanted to read something dystopian. I had my eyes on the Lunar Chronicles, but they hadn't arrived at the time, so they have arrived now. The books are gorgeous. Can't wait to read them. Just a little bit intimidated because it's 6 books. Or it's 4 mains and then 2 extras. And speaking of intimidated, so I started reading Arc of Scythe. All 3. I read all 3. Like, this is a lot. This is a whole lot. And these are by Neil Shusterman? Shusterman. It looks German, but it's not. But anyway, so wait, which one is number 2? Alright, Thunderhead is number 2? Yes, Thunderhead is number 2. Okay, so we got Scythe, Thunderhead, followed by The Toll. These definitely read as a series, I would say, first of all. They're also a little bit on the heavier side, I would say. Or maybe that's just because I read them right after The Shadows Between Us. I don't really know. But they were so interesting. I definitely feel like this could easily be books for adults, to be honest. They raise a lot of interesting questions. I was thinking a lot while reading them. And just the way that they were written, with like, between every chapter, there's a journal entry or an entry from the Thunderhead. It's difficult to explain. And it just works so well because it helps develop the world that this takes place in. As for the story, we follow 2 characters, Citra, Terra Nova, and Rowan something. And I don't exactly know when it takes place, but it's in our world, but in the future. So basically humanity has overcome death, we have overcome illnesses, poverty, what else is there? Every sort of issue on the planet we have overcome. Due to that though, people aren't dying, and oh yeah, we've also overcome dying of age. So we're eternal all of a sudden. We're just eternal. Like, awesome. Great. With that though comes the issue of overpopulation, because people aren't just starting families of 4 people, so like 2 parents and 2 kids. No, they are starting families of 9 people, and then they get bored after a while, so they move on to another person and start a family with them, and suddenly, you know, there's a lot of people on the planet. Also, the cloud, as we know it, you know, the one where you upload your pictures to and files and so on. It's kind of developed into something called the Thunderhead. So it has its own consciousness, conscious? It's alive. Let's just put it, it's alive. And it can think, it helps people, it talks to people. For example, if you're not talking well with your parents, you can talk to the Thunderhead. It controls, like if you turn on the light and you forget and you move to another room in your house, it'll turn off the light. And it's kind of got an eye on everyone in the world, so at the same time, which is impressive. I'll give it that. It's kind of scary as well, not gonna lie. It controls, like, they have these things called nanities, which they can both heal you, but also give you painkillers. It's like, if you're introduced to Rowan's friend because he basically jumps down from a house for fun. Like from an apartment building or an office building, I don't remember. A tall building, a skyscraper, for fun. He splats himself for the fun of it. But he can't die, so he's taken to a revival center and they restore him. As long as your body is intact, which obviously it isn't if you jump down from a skyscraper, but details. As long as your body's intact, as long as they can rebuild your body, you're alive. The only things that can kill you is acid and fire. And a few other things I'm not gonna say. I don't wanna spoil anything. So anyway, it's a very interesting world, and back to the point. I just feel like there's a lot to explain in this book. I could continue without spoiling anything, to be honest. But I'm gonna let you guys decide if you wanna read these and explore the world a little bit more. It's up to you now. But anyways, as for the story, because of overpopulation, we have this little division of it's not the government because there is no government anymore. We have a group of people that are called scythes that will glean people to keep the world from overpopulating. And to get more scythes, certain scythes have apprentices, and Rowan and Citra become apprentices. But then because of that, it turns into this whole, a lot of things are unraveled within the scythe community, and that's all I'm gonna say, I think. There's a big bad person they have to take down. There's the question of overpopulating. Does this system work? There's a lot going on. There's a lot to unravel, and I really enjoyed these books. They were just a little bit of a heavy read, I will say that. Like, it took me longer than it usually does to read them, simply because there's a lot to digest. But I enjoyed them a lot. So as for ratings, if you want to know, I gave this a 4 out of 5. Thunderhead a 5 out of 5 because the ending of this, when I was done reading it, I was like, whoa, whoa. I think I was just lying on my couch like, what? This is like everything it just clicked all of a sudden. I don't know how to explain it. Everything just kind of clicked. So 5 out of 5 and then a 4 out of 5. Also, I love these covers. I don't know what it is, but they're just so, I love them. I really like them. So yeah, that was my dystopian read. Now I'm just waiting for myself to gather courage so that I can read the Lunar Chronicles. I'll get to that. So next up, I decided to read Ace of Spades by Faridah. I don't know how to pronounce all those, I actually mentioned all those accents. There's a lot of accents. So I actually mentioned this book in a voiceover when I was reading it because it was really interesting. I needed to read something contemporary after having read so much fantasy followed by dystopian. I just needed something a little bit more contemporary. So the thing that really caught my eye with this one was actually the cover. I had seen it probably somewhere on Instagram and the premise of the book as well was one that really caught my eye. We have two characters. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember their names at all? Hold on a second. Chiamaka and Devin. So they go to a private school, I'm guessing in the US, just a guess. It was actually, well, I'm pretty sure it's in the US because I can't do British accents at all, but in my head I was kind of imagining them to have British accents, and then all of a sudden they were like, there was like a pointer to where it said being in the US, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second, I gotta adjust. So anyway, sometimes I'll read out loud the text when I'm like in my head when I'm reading, sometimes I won't. If there's dialogue I will, because you kind of have to like pretend what's their tone like, and anyway. So in the US, which also makes sense with the story. It makes more sense with the story than if it was in the UK. But anyway, we follow these two students. They're the only black students on this private school, and at the end of what I think is their senior year, they are chosen as prefects. See, this is confusing to me because our school system is not the same and like, what? But they're chosen as, isn't that what they're called? Prefects? Like what you would maybe call honor students or something? Which to Chiamaka is completely normal, but to Devin it kind of took him by surprise because he's not exactly a grade 8. Well, he is a good student, but he's not exactly that kind of student. So yeah, and then quickly, I think if not on the same day, attacks are being carried out, like really mean, not physical attacks, but really mean, like we're talking posters with pictures on, the head scratched out, that sort of thing, start happening. And more stuff that I'm not going to talk about because it would spoil the book. But how am I gonna say more than that without spoiling anything? Anyway, it kind of becomes this thing, like almost like a daily thing at some point, and it takes a while for them to kind of start talking about it together, like working together and figuring out who is doing this to them, but they do end up doing that, and I think this is described, yeah, they kind of have to, oh, senior prefects. See, I was right. Senior prefects. Yeah, they have to figure out who this person is. They also go by the name Aces, by the way. Aces. It's very suspenseful. A lot of mystery. Enjoyed it a lot. It's very fast-paced as well. There's feeling in it. I felt so sorry for them, and there's a lot of effed-upness in this book. Like a lot. Yeah, I would highly recommend it to you guys. I gave it, also if you want to read something that touches on race, I feel like this is a good one, to be honest. If you want to read something that touches on race issues, for example, this is a good one. So, I gave it a 4 out of 5. No, a 4.5 out of 5. I give I feel like 5 stars out of 5 is not, there's not enough numbers to play around with, you know. So, 4.5 out of 5. And also, it's kind of, if you like Gossip Girl, yes. If you like Gossip Girl, if you watched Get Out, the horror movie, love that horror movie. Love that movie. It's a brilliant movie. And then I also wrote down Pretty Little Liars, actually. I feel like it's a mix of those three because it's kind of like whodunit, there's a lot of gossip and race issues. If you like any of those three, if you like all three, definitely go pick this one up. So yeah, Ace of Spades by Faridah Àbíké-Íyímídé. I don't know how to pronounce it. If anybody knows, let me know because honestly, names. And then lastly, I thought I was gonna pick up, what's it called? House of Salt and Sorrows? Which is, no, To Kill a Kingdom, which is also a retelling of The Little Mermaid. Things did not go the way I planned. I had taken the book from my bookcases, I'd thrown it on the bed because I was working for the rest of the day and I wasn't gonna be able to read before going to bed, which in itself is a stupid thing. Like, why would you take up a new book right before you go to bed? But anyway, made a quick decision, and instead of reading a standalone, a very short, thin standalone, I picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I hadn't read yet. So I love Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas? I don't know. SJM. I love her writing. I started reading Throne of Glass in 2016. I have read the first 4 books, pre-ordered the 5th, never got to read it, but I devoured the first 4 books, like, and I've heard the next ones are better, so I have something to look forward to. But because I like those books so much, I decided back then to pick, in 2016, to pick up both of these. And I don't know why, but I just never read them. So I was like, you know what? Quick decision, we're not gonna read To Kill a Kingdom. We're gonna read A Court of Thorns and Roses because who doesn't wanna, like, who doesn't just jump into a 5-book series on a whim? I did. I don't know. Do I regret that decision? Not at all. I love this. I love this so much. I've also read A Court of Silver Flames, but I'm gonna need a little bit of time before I start talking about that one. Just like a little bit. I need to build up the courage to be honest, because that book is a little bit of a mouthful. Something I'm sure Nesta would agree with. If you know, you know. But anyway, yeah. I'm gonna talk about the first 4 books, or I don't know how I am because I don't know how to talk about sequels without spoiling anything. But I read, so we got A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and then we got A Court of Wings and Ruin. I hate these covers. I hate these covers so much. Why are they neon? Anyway, and then I also have this little middle thing It's a 3.5. It's very thin. I read this in a day, in a few hours, I think. Anyway, but the first one, let's talk about the first one. So I feel a little bit dumb actually explaining what these books are about, because I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of you guys watching this video have already read them. These are very, very popular books. So very, very hyped books. I love them now. I've been thinking about these since I finished them. So we are following... names again. We're following who I think is called Faridah, but I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna stick with that pronunciation for now. She is a human in a world that is... Actually, I'm gonna show you the map because it'll be easier to just explain. Okay, my camera just cut off, but I hope that it's fine. I don't know if it's over... whatever. The map is so much prettier in the Silver Flames book, but here we go. This is the important part of the map. So my nails cracked as well. It's great. Anyway, we got Faridah's world, or Faridah's, the Mortal Lands, which is where Faridah lives, is down here. The rest is the fairy world? Fairy realms. Okay. Words. That's split up into 8 different areas. So we got the 4 seasons, and then we also have night, day, and dawn courts. So they're split up into 7 courts and then an 8th area that's called Under the Mountain. So Faridah is from the mortal lands of this island called Prythian or Prythian, I don't know. And anyway, she is living with her dad and her 2 sisters. I never got the dad's name. I think they just called him father, but her sisters are called Nesta and Elaine. She's the youngest. Nesta is the eldest. Did I say oldest or eldest, or did I do a mix of the 2 words? I don't really know. Nesta is the oldest. And they don't have a lot of money because something has happened to their fortune. They used to have money, now they don't. So Faridah is forced, more or less forced, to kind of hunt for the family because the dad can't take care of them, the sisters aren't doing it, so it's up to Faridah. So she's a good huntress, and one day when she's out in the woods, she comes across a wolf, which she unalives with an arrow in the eye, and that causes issues. So she's taken off to the spring court. This is all in the back of the book, by the way, so like I'm not spoiling anything. She's taken off to the spring court where she learns that there's stuff going on. Something about like what you could possibly call a curse is happening, and or what do they call it? It's called something, not a curse, it's called something else. I just don't remember the exact term they use, but she starts to kind of like this fairy that took her to this court, and because of that she wants to help fix what's happening. I feel like that was such a weird explanation. Anyway, this is highly inspired by Beauty and the Beast, so I feel like anything that I've said, you could kind of just, if by saying the Beauty and the Beast, you could kind of just figure out that what's going on in this book. And everything that happens in this one is important in the other ones, but it's really difficult to say what exactly is going on in the other ones because I don't want to spoil anything from this one because this one is so good on its own. And then you can't read this one without wanting to read the other ones, though. That is the thing. I devoured these so quickly. The characters are so charming. I do have to mention that you meet a lot of characters in book 2 that you'll love. You will love those characters. So if you're not fully certain on book 1, book 2, that just hang in there. But you'll still love, I'm sure you'll love book 1. It's just book 2, you just such good characters. That's all I'm saying. I love the characters. Anyway, so these are high fantasy books. They include magic, warriors, fairies. What else is there? It's very well written. It's very well described. The magic is interesting. There's just a lot going on and it's very action filled, fast paced, kind of steamy at times. So if that's not your thing, just watch out. Just a little bit steamy, especially the Silver Flames, but we're going to talk about that in next month's wrap up. Because I'm not brave enough to talk about it yet. So, but just a little bit steamy. So if that's not your thing, just keep that in mind. Yeah, I really don't know. I really want to talk more about these books, but I have such a hard time because the 2 books, it's so different from each other. Like, if you've read them and you hear me say this, you'll know what I mean. There's just a lot in this one that you don't even, nothing in this they're so different. So like, it's really difficult to explain exactly what's going on in the other ones. I don't want to ruin anything for you if you haven't read them yet. I would just like to say that if you like fantasy, you like romance, because there's a lot of romance in them, like a lot. But I would say that there's a nice balance between fantasy and romance. It's not romance with fantasy or fantasy with romance, at least not in my opinion. I feel like there's a nice balance there. So, but yeah, definitely just keep an eye on, like, this just looks wrong. I need this one and this kind of ew. But yeah, highly recommend them. I don't know what else to say. Oh yeah, I gave this, wait, where's the stars? I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. This is the 5 out of 5. A 4.5 out of 5, and then this one is basically like, it's like a little middle thing. If you move on from the 3rd book to the 4th one, I would definitely recommend that you read this, but it's not necessarily required. If you miss the characters, read this because it's cute. There's just not a lot going on, but it's cute still. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 simply because there's not a lot going on, but I missed the characters a little bit. I was not ready to let them go. I was gonna read everything that included them, which included this book, so I read it. But there's not a lot going on, just so you know. But anyway, yeah, I think that was that it? I really want to talk about these more, but it's just, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys if you haven't read them. I'll be surprised if you haven't, because I feel like I'm the last person on the planet to not have read these books, not gonna lie. Everyone talks about those books all the time, and I never understood the hype until I read them. So yeah, it's gonna be fun talking about Silver Flames without spoiling anything in those books, but hey, it's a challenge. Who doesn't love a challenge, right? So if there's anything else that you guys have read this month or if there's anything you guys have read this month that you think would be interesting to me, let me know in the comments. As for, what month are we in again? August? Oh my gosh, we're getting so close to autumn. As for August, I have so far read A Court of Silver Flames. I've also finished 6 Crimson Cranes, and I'm currently reading through Heartless by Marissa Meyer. And after that, I don't really know what I'm gonna read. I think I'm waiting for, because I really want to read Serpent and Dove, the trilogy, but whenever I pre-order books, it takes them a month, 1.5 months to get here. It was the same with 6 Crimson Cranes. I wanted to read it last month, just didn't get it until, I don't know, at the end, like the 27th of July. It came out at the start of July, so it just takes a long time for books to get here. It is what it is. But I think I'm probably not gonna read Serpent and Dove until September then. There's so many books coming out in September that I want to read. Knowing what I've just said, they probably won't arrive until October though, but still. A lot of good books coming out in September. I think other than those 3, I might visit the Shadowhunter University a little bit. Read Chain of Iron, maybe. Or is it Chain of Gold or Chain of Iron first? I can never remember. Wait, isn't it Chain of Gold? The Last Hours. I might read those. Or actually, I should probably read, I almost call it Clockwork Orange. You know, Clockwork Angel, Infernal Devices first. I'm just not ready for, isn't there a like, what's it called? Isn't there a love triangle going on in those books? I don't remember. Anyway, did I forget about talking about tropes in this one? This is kind of half enemies to lovers, by the way. Just so you guys know, that's all I wanted to add. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, let me know. I'm going to a bookstore in Copenhagen next weekend, which I'm super excited for. I'll probably vlog it as well, both the trip, but also make a separate vlog in the bookstore, because I think that would be fun. So I'm probably going to do a little bit of a book haul. They have a lot more books in the bookstores over there than they do in my city, and I'm looking forward to just actually buying books instead of ordering them, because sometimes I get so impatient. I don't want to wait for Book Depository to spend a month sending these books to me. So I'm looking forward to that. So if there's anything you think I would like, let me know in the comments. And yeah, let me know if you want me to continue making these videos. If there's anything else book related that you want me to talk about, let me know. I was so close to making a separate video about The Shadows Between Us. Decided not to because I just don't want to talk negative like that. I don't know. It's not for me. But I was so close. So if there is anything you want me to talk about or anything, let me know or ask away. Or whatever. And if you've read any of these books that I read this month, share your opinions as well. And I think that is pretty much it. Isn't this the cutest? I don't know what's going on with his face though. Like, what is happening here? But I love it still. So anyway, hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing some more vlogs with you guys, and also talking about books again in the future. So, but I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!